Fox 11 hosted a special Zoom roundtable with local parents. They all watched the governor's speech together as it happened live. Stephanie Stanton moderated this. She spoke with all the parents. Stephanie, what did you learn?
Yeah, Alex and Dr. Drew, you guys hit the nail on the head. It's this back and forth. Will we go? Won't we go? The not knowing. I mean, I think for a lot of parents I talked to, that in itself was so frustrating. At least we now have an answer. It may not be the answer that folks wanted to hear, but we now know what is happening. And as you said, I hosted this digital roundtable today on Zoom. It was very interesting. We had more than 24 parents from all across Southern California weighing in, including some members of a popular Facebook group called LA Mommies. Now, we were able to sit down together as a group and watch the governor's news conference as he laid out the parameters for allowing California students to go back to the classroom. Those guidelines were pretty stringent, and it was very clear that, once again, LA County students and many others across California were not going back to class. And we got to hear from some of those parents. They weighed in on their thoughts and feelings about it, and a myriad of issues related to this. Take a listen.
What's best for our family is to stay home, but I don't know how I'll be able to do that when it's going to be hard to not have help or childcare, to try to be stretching myself like I was March to June to be a parent and be working full time. It's just difficult.
I'm not a teacher, and I hand it to the teachers for what they do because I am not a teacher. So it's not as easy, and especially with, trying to figure out how one person and out of 4, and you have to have the attention on the 3 that have the IEP, so that does make it more difficult.
As parents, we should have the option to parents that don't want to send their kids to school and come across with different options for them to take if online classes are available for them, as well for parents that want to send their kids to school.
I just don't feel safe. I don't feel safe with any of this. I don't want the online learning only option, but I don't see how that we can send our kids back with the way that cases are right now.
And I have a 9-year-old and a 13-year-old. And my 13-year-old is depressed because she can't see her friends. This is her last year of junior high, and she wants to go and graduate. I think there should be, and they're both special education kids, and the distance learning didn't work for them.
And as you saw there, a myriad of opinions. Our Zoom went on for over an hour. A lot of parents weighing in. Now that we have this decision, it is really only the first step, because now there's still a lot of unknowns as parents try to get some systems in place for the upcoming school year. A lot of parents also saying, hey, what we saw last spring, we kind of scrambled to do the homeschooling. That didn't work for a lot of parents. So I think, you guys, there's still a lot of unanswered questions about this.
We heard one of the parents talk about special education. We heard another use the phrase IEP. That's a special education reference too. Yep. The governor today pressed on the special education issue, saying that they're going to spend billions of dollars more to try to help kids. But Stephanie, that's an area of a special concern, and we've seen a lot of regression for special education kids in the last few months.
Absolutely, Alex, and that was one interesting point about this Zoom. We had several parents with special needs students weighing in, and they were basically raising their hands saying, in-person instruction is critical to my child. My child will fall backwards. My child will not get what they need at home. I mean, homeschooling is hard enough. Can you imagine homeschooling a special needs student? So that is still a huge, huge concern, you guys.
And I would also imagine childcare has got to be a concern, because you got a situation where we're in an economic crisis as well as a healthcare crisis, and now all of a sudden parents have to be home. Don't they have to work too?
Absolutely. I can tell you that there has been a lot of talk going around in the moms groups. Several moms have had to essentially quit their jobs and stay at home with their kids because they're being forced to choose between their job and the child care. They don't want to bring in a child care worker because of potential exposure to COVID. So, then there's the economic impacts, losing that income. I mean, there is so much going on here. I mean, this is really just the tip of the iceberg, in my opinion.
And by the way, if you ever want to get a good example example of the unfair burden on women. You notice it's not the dad stepping in here; it's the moms willing to sacrifice their work. And we hear this all the time.
I did say moms.
Oh, it's the way it goes. It's a very
that.
common thing. It's a very common thing.
Yeah.
And we need to support women to be able to continue at work, and this is not the way to do it.
Stephanie Stanton, who is a working mom herself, we appreciate you working tonight on this story and bringing light and giving a voice to a lot of those
Thank
parents.
you guys
We
so
appreciate
much.
an important
Appreciate it.
conversation.